Good day, everybody. This is the Ecclesiarch here, back with some more Warpforge, and I believe it is time for yet another Warlord tier list based on the current patch and meta. Now, a lot of things have changed compared to my previous tier list. Now, the one that you all are going to be able to see on the screen right now, that's how I placed the Warlords last time when it was the Orc heavy meta. But a lot of things are going to be different right now, and a lot of things are going to be in a way that maybe you guys are going to disagree with me, but please, in any case, don't forget that this is my subjective opinion, but I will, of course, try to provide argumentation for you. And please leave a comment and tell me why you agree or disagree. So I always love your constructive feedback, and I want to hear your opinions. Now, without further ado, let's actually just get this show on the road. And the first Warlord we're going to be talking about is going to be Abaddon. And Abaddon, right away, I'm going to be throwing into S tier. And a lot of you are going to be instantly fuming about this, I know. And you're going to be like, what are you saying? Are you crazy? Like, Abaddon is not that good. Chaos is still trash. A lot of you people are going to disagree. However, apparently, I've been playing a lot of Abaddon last season and this season as well. Last time I placed Abaddon in the A tier, and I still think that he was A tier, but now I think that he's 100% S tier. Now, there are reasons for that. Number one reason is that all of those buffs that Chaos has received has pretty much added up. On top of that, the new buff to the Venom Crawler has actually made Chaos very strong, because as soon as Chaos drops the Venom Crawler and slaps like a camouflage on it, it becomes almost impossible to deal with that, as many factions at least. Maybe minus the Orcs, who have a pretty easy time dealing with it. Now, Abaddon itself, as I said, I've been playing this guy for 2 seasons already, and I went into like top 50 with playing only Abaddon. You can even watch my stream yesterday as I played him, and today I climbed all the way up to 19 with this guy, no bots. And then I dropped to, I think, 21, and now I kind of switched to Warlord because I got bored with one of the same thing. But Abaddon has been performing super well. One of the only reasons, actually, apart from getting bored, I switched from Abaddon, is that I got tired of playing all the mirrors, because there's a lot of Abaddons on the ladder currently. I think there are 2 reasons for it. One is that, well, he's strong, but the second one is that finally Chaos is playable, so a lot of people are very excited. Now, I do think that he's better than Harken World Claimer, who I'm going to be placing in A tier. Now, a lot of you are going to say, and I've seen this discussion on the Warpforge chat, global chat, that basically saying that Harken is the better one, but no, he's not. Let me explain why Abaddon is a little bit better than Harken. Harken has to use his HP in order to get his ability's value. Every time he wants to use his ability, he has to take damage. On top of that, he has 5 less health than Abaddon, and on top of that, Abaddon can keep increasing his health whenever necessary. So the problem with Harken is that Harken is very, very squishy, so he's a little bit less reliable than Abaddon. On top of that, if you have more than 1 unit on the board, you have double RNG basically. When you use Harken's ability, first RNG is which unit the buff goes on, and the second is what buff you are going to get. So I think that Harken is going to comfortably stay in A tier where he was in the previous patch. He's definitely a bit stronger than he was before. I think last time I overestimated him and he would have been B tier, but now I think that Abaddon goes into S and Harken goes into A. I know that a lot of people think that Abaddon is not really that good, but I beg to differ. There's a lot of chaos right now, and the reason that people are playing so much Chaos cannot only be that Chaos is cool. It's also that Chaos is actually pretty good right now. And with the fact that nothing is like super overpowered right now compared to the last patch, Chaos is actually doing pretty decent. So I would say that Abaddon comfortably deserves his S tier spot. Now, as for Anvir Keltalk, which is the next one, I think I'm going to place Keltalk actually in probably B tier, together where he goes with Eliak Zephyrblade. Now, Eliak Zephyrblade last time I placed in C tier. However, I think I underestimated the guy a little bit. I do believe that Eliak Zephyrblade is actually quite good. He actually can be really good, especially considering just how much damage he can deal with his ability. He has some very surprise tactics as well, where he can play for Shuriken builds, so and so on. If he drops like the Exarch, he can deal like 5 shuriken with the Exarch with his ability, which is already 9 damage. So he has a lot of damage potential, and more people are actually playing Eliak. And I think that he's quite alright. Same with Keltok. Keltok also has a very nice control style, and Eldar are overall pretty balanced. A pretty balanced faction. I think you can just play Eldar very normally and feel good about it, because they're like good all-rounded faction. But I do think that Madrial Gillian still tops the tier list of Eldar Warlords, just because of the amount of tempo that she can gain just by summoning those units. So she can reliably keep summoning stuff on the board while also generating Spirit Stones in most cases. So I think that all in all, still Madrial Gillian stays in the A tier where she used to be, and she's still the better Eldar Warlord. There's also a reason why you always see Madrial Gillian for the most part and not the other ones as the higher you go on the ladder, because Madrial is more and more more and more reliable and consistent. Because and Anvir can have insane consistency, but he's a little bit slow, and as you guys know, slow warlords in Everguild games usually suffer a lot. However, if he pulls it off, he can definitely have a very good late game. So yeah, I would put these two in B tier. They're solid, but definitely Madrial Gillian takes the cake as a A tier warlord there for sure. Now, the next one we have here is Boss Zexstruck. And Boss Zexstruck, last time I had him in B tier. Reason for that was that the orcs were stupidly strong last patch, especially with the Makari abuse and stuff like that. Now I'm going to throw this guy down to C tier. I think that he's like overshadowed by the other orcs who are much, much better than he is, because he just doesn't have that enough tools to keep pushing what he's supposed to be pushing, right? He's an aggro one. He's supposed to be an aggro warlord, more aggro than the other warlords, but like Gruk and Gaskul just have better abilities overall and are better at using the orc cards than this guy. This guy has no card draw. He has no tempo. He just smacks your face. So kind of unreliable. However, when it comes to the other orcs, I would actually go and say that it's very difficult to choose between Gaskul Thraka as well as Gruk the Face Ripper. However, this one might be something that you guys disagree on for the most part, but I'm going to go and say Gruk deserves an S tier while Gaskul deserves the A tier. Now, Gaskul used to be the king of the meta last patch, and Gruk was still very strong, and basically orcs received 2 nerfs, right? Nerf to Gaskul and the nerf to Makari. Now, they still have the Green Horde, but as I always said, I find that the Green Horde is way more reliable with Gruk, and they still have a lot of flanks. They still have that Squig Buggy, so I think that these guys are still really good. I just think that Gruk is a little bit better than Gaskul, honestly, because Gaskul now, just by summoning 1 Groth, is no longer as viable as he used to be, because he cannot abuse the tempo as in a crazy way as he used to. So certainly still a good warlord, but not as good as he used to be for sure. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the Ultramarines. Actually, wait, before we do that, might as well do the final Chaos Warlord. Sylar was always D tier, and he's gonna remain in D tier, even though Chaos has been buffed and he's objectively better than he used to be. I'm still gonna throw this guy into D tier, and I'm not gonna stop throwing this guy into D tier until Everguild actually decides to do something about him, because buffing his abilities has no point if they are RNG, because you never know what you're gonna get. So he's unreliable, his ability is stupid, and we have Varo Tigurius, which is just a better version of Sylar because he can choose what to do, right? So overall, I think that Sylar Hexcorn is still the worst warlord in the game, no doubt. And I hope that Everguild just changes him for the better. I think what they need to do with this guy is that they need to let him choose what ability he can cast, but it can be random. So the damage target can be random and so on, but he should at least be able to choose what he wants to do. So that's my opinion on Sylar. Now let's talk about the Ultramarines. Now, another thing that a lot of you are going to go and say, oh my god, what are you saying? Are you crazy? Is that I'm going to be putting Uriel Ventris in S tier. Now, the reason for that is that Uriel Ventris, who used to be C tier last patch, because he used to be like, I think, A tier when the Ultramarines were basically very strong, but Varo and Marneus Calgar overshadowed him. Then he dropped to C tier because Marines were very weak and he was the worst of them all because he lacked any card draw or anything. But now Marines received some buffs. He received an extra card, and Hero's Respite is 2 energy. So he can swarm and keep pushing a lot of aggro. He's very aggressive, he's very quick, and I believe that #1 player right now on the ladder is playing Uriel Ventris as well. I played a lot of Uriel Ventris on top 50 as well, and it absolutely slaps. It's very powerful. I'll do another stream just to show you guys how good he is. Yesterday I did it with Abaddon, and I'm going to do some Uriel and Guruk action as well, but I think that Uriel certainly deserves like the S tier. I would even put him above Guruk, and I would say like it's tied between him and Abaddon on which is like the best one. But in general, like I think that it's really good. I think Uriel is heavily underrated, and a lot of people need to get on that Uriel train, but you need to understand that Uriel is not played the same way as Marneus Calgar and Varo Tigurius. You don't play him on a vehicle late game deck. You need to play aggressive tempo, swarm, aggro, like very fast play style with him, and you're gonna get good results. As for Varo Tigurius and Marneus Calgar, honestly speaking, I would say that they are either A tier or B tier. Now, a lot of people are probably gonna disagree with me once again because Ultramarines are a little bit of a tricky thing here, but I'm gonna say Calgar is B, while Varo Tigurius is A, or I don't know, like honestly speaking, Calgar has a good ability to keep drawing cards, which is really good. However, Varo Tigurius still has that flexibility, still has this ability to choose what ability, like between 3 things, trigger codex more efficiently, trade more efficiently with shield. So, and he has more reach through his psychic powers as well if he wants to play aggro. So I would say Calgar would be like on top of the B tier, while Varo I would place in A tier. So I think that this is how I would place the Ultramarines. But right now, guys, Ultramarines are really good. A lot of you are saying that they're crap and they're unplayable, but please, like I've been playing Uriel Ventris on top 50 without a problem. I've been playing Varo in top 50 without a problem, and #1 guy is playing Uriel Ventris. I think that should be enough to show you that they are actually pretty good right now. It's just that you need to adapt and change the playstyle a little bit. When it comes to the Necrons, now this guy used to be S tier with the Scarabs, but now he's gonna drop to A. I think Oricon the Diviner is still pretty viable. It's just that now that we have a lot of Chaos and Uriel, it's hard for him to do the same thing because Uriel can clear his board very easily, and Abaddon also has a lot of tools to deal with that when it comes to Spondom and Traitor's Hate. So definitely Oricon is not as effective as he used to be against the Orcs, because against the Orcs was when he used to shine the most. Now Imhotep is still going to stay in A tier as he always used to be. He's still good, he's still alright. It's the only problem I have with Imhotep is that games are so slow with him that climbing with Imhotep takes a long time. So you need to invest a lot of time daily to just get progress with this guy. So I think that's the only problem that Imhotep really has. But there's still a lot of people running him in top 50. I tried him a couple of games as well. He's pretty good, but I think he falls short behind the S tier for sure. When it comes to Nemesor, he just gets the same treatment as Zakstruk. He's like alright, he has some really cool builds with that ghost ship and stuff. Like Midnight posted a cool deck, I believe, on him. BJ posted a cool deck on him, but it's just not that good. It's just something that really needs more love because he's overshadowed by the other two. And last but not least, we have the Tyranids. We have the ones that had the chance to be so overpowered that they would just reset the meta, just like the Orcs and Ultramarines that we did before them. But fortunately, EG listened to the community, and now they're actually in a pretty nice spot. And Swarmlord is going to be the final S tier Warlord that I'm going to place here. And let me explain why. Swarmlord is heavily underrated. Swarmlord is extremely powerful. Tyranids still have their crazy one-shot combo with Broodlord and the Bloodthirst. Their reach is insane. Swarmlord is by far the strongest of them because of that 3 damage that he has. Even though he has like 1 range damage less, he can trade very efficiently with most units, so he can keep the tempo, and he can really survive for the first few turns, which is the weakness of the Tyranids. Now he can also use the Gene Stealers, which open up more gameplay potential for him. So I do believe that Swarmlord is one of the best warlords right now. One of the problems that he also had was that there were too many orcs, and orcs were a terrible matchup for the Swarmlord. But right now, since the orcs are not that prominent anymore, he is in a pretty good spot. So he can deal with Black Legion, with Uriel, with Necrons. He can do anything, but of course, he is very draw dependent. You also want to go second because the counterattack of the Tyranids is nuts. So there's that. And as for Neurothrope, I would actually pull Neurothrope from B tier into the A tier. I would say he's pretty good right now as well. You can very successfully play the guy because right now his ability, even though it didn't get buffed, Tyranids have those Gene Stealers, and Neuro is one of the best ones with the Gene Stealers. And of course, it's a shadow buff to him as well because like the last patch, because orcs getting weaker and not being that prominent makes Tyranids stronger because orcs counter Tyranids very hard. As for the Terragon, he used to be C, and I'm actually going to ramp him up to B tier. I think the Tervagon is one of the most underrated and underappreciated warlords right now. The reason for that being, he used to be pretty weak, and the problem with him was that he doesn't have any source of 3 damage to just trade in the early game. Swarmlord can trade with auto attack, and Neurothrope can use his ability to deal 3 damage. Tervagon is kind of stuck. However, he received some pretty good buffs through the fact that Hormagaunt is now stronger, and Hormagaunt is very good on Tervagon. Gene Stealers, still pretty good, so Tervagon can also use that. And once again, the lesser amount of orcs, right? So I think Tervagon is a little bit better than he used to be. It's just that you need to be more specific and more smart when you play him compared to the other ones. I think he's like at the bottom of the B tier, but he's certainly B tier material. Not as good as the Swarmlord and Neurothrope, but he's definitely playable. And if you compare this tier list to my previous tier list, you can already notice that the meta is much healthier in a sense that there's a lot more things that people can actually play. I think that the only little problem that we have right now is that the Venom Crawler combo is a little bit cancerous, but it's still not as terrifying as like 2 health Spirit Leech would be, or as Gaskull War was, or as the Ultramarines were. So I think that that's the whole thing basically there. I think that right now we have a pretty good meta, and I hope that at the end of the month it doesn't get messed up, because just by that one little thing that they did not overbuff the Tyranids, we got a pretty healthy meta. A lot of people are playing Abaddon, as I said, not only because he's strong, but I also think that a lot of people have been waiting for this chance to play Abaddon, and Chaos are certainly very fun, so there's also that. Now then, guys, please give me your comments. Tell me what you think, what you agree or disagree on. I'd love to hear your opinions. And yeah, tell me which warlord you would like me to stream in the top 50 next, because Abaddon, I think you already saw how good he is. Like, I think you got a good demonstration of that yesterday. But I can also show you some Uriel, Swarmlord, and Gruk. I think that they also deserve the S tier spot. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ecclesiarch out.